You'll see the Rooster Fighter preview. Man, that's cool. This right here is what anime is all about. I'ma say it. I don't care about cats or dogs. It's all about the chickens. You can keep your umamuzumas. Give me cock. Pause. I've been thinking, are there any other anime centered around or heavily featuring birds? If so, which one is best? That's why I'm here for, playa. I've now scoured the archives and come up with the definitive top 10 birds anime. Honorable mention to Haikyuu. Brother, I ain't looking for no ham-fisted bird metaphors. This is all about the chicks, know what I'm saying? Haha! Anyway, number 10 is Princess Tutu. What is it that makes a classic? So, this is a magical bird anime about a duck that becomes a girl. It is also about ballet, Swan Lake specifically. Or is it about death of the author? Another does die in the beginning, not like literally in real life in the anime. It's nothing morbid like that. It's a kid show, or is it? At this point, I would like to put up an official spoiler alert for the rest of the list. You have been warned. There was once a writer named Drosselmeyer who had the power to make his stories come to life. However, he died before he could finish his final tale, The Prince and the Raven, leaving its characters locked in an eternal battle. After many years, the Raven managed to escape into the real world, and the prince, Siegfried, pursued him. To seal away the Raven's evil, the prince shattered his own heart, causing him to lose his memories and emotions. But you see, Drosselmeyer, having used his power to write himself as part of the tale to preserve his consciousness, laments that the story has come to a standstill. He finds a way to restart the flow of the story in the form of a duck who has fallen in love with Mytho, the hollow husk of what once was Prince Siegfried. He gives her a magical pendant that can transform her first into a human girl, then into the magical ballerina princess Tutu, another character in the original story. As Tutu, Doc is tasked with finding the scattered shards of Mythos' heart and returning them to him, and on goes the fun episodic adventure until it isn't anymore. As Doc learns that as Princess Tutu, she has a predetermined destiny. She can never confess her love, or else she will turn into a speck of light and vanish. However, after it becomes clear that Mytho wants his heart to be restored, she persists. Is that what true love is? The director Junichi Sato is still around. He works in Precure now. You know him for shows like Ojimanjo, Doremi, Sergeant Frog, Kaleido Star, or perhaps you are familiar with this indie project he directed in the 90s, Sailor Moon. This thing came out in 2002, so well before the whole dark magical girl thing became, well, a thing. So at the time, the darkness was refreshing and surprising, even if it is fairly subdued. Certified classic in my book. Number 9 is Penguin Highway. Penguins are such surreal animals, man. Chubby little birds that hang out in the snow. Really seeing them anywhere other than their natural habitat should be as unnerving as seeing a zebra in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Let's be real, we always give penguins a pass because they are cute, even though they do smell like a professional Yu-Gi-Oh player. Anyways, Penguin Highway was originally a sci-fi novel written by Tomohiko Morimi, you know, the Tatami Galaxy guy. It got adapted into a manga and then became a 2-hour movie, which is what we are concerned with right now. We follow our boy Aoyama. He may be young, but he is a damn good protagonist. The whole film is about him solving the mystery of how a bunch of penguins appeared suddenly in this sleepy Japanese town. He's good at chess, but not too good. He has a crush on this pretty dentist assistant, and little man has a scientific disposition to solving puzzles. Also shout out to Ushida, this dude is a real one. He sticks by Aoyama no matter how bizarre or adventurous or JoJo things get. Also there's this kid called Suzuki, straight up, that boy has the best redemption arc I've ever seen. Get the hell out of here, Zuko. Suzuki is my boy now. So, what is the movie about? As you probably noticed, I have been avoiding spoilers in this part. I'm not being considerate, it's just that even if I told you about the twists and the turns, I'd just sound like a lunatic out of context. Look, I'll give it a try. The penguins, they aren't real. The ocean isn't real either. The world has been folded onto itself, so the ocean is a whole. The penguins are trying to destroy the ocean in order to save the world. Yeah, those are my notes. That is what I gathered from the film. It's either that or the whole thing is a metaphor. It's about growing up. Usually, being an adult, like coffee, is bitter. That's true, but you learn to appreciate it. Number 8 is The Boy and the Heron. We start at the most traumatic moment of a young man's life, as a fire takes his mother's life. And you know this one is bad because later on, he even dreams about it. This is Mahito. A year after the tragedy, his father remarries and they move to Tokyo. But this is not the Tokyo you know. This is wartime, baby, so you know it sucks. He arrives at this big state, there's a heron in the garden, the heron harasses him, cryptic stuff keeps happening around it, the bird's silhouette even appears in the boy's dreams for God's sake. And on his first day in Tokyo, he follows the grey heron, which is actually blue, into this big tower. You see, his stepmother says a long time ago, this one guy disappeared while he was in the tower. Turns out there's a labyrinth right below, so he probably just got stuck down there, and since he didn't have any step-siblings, there was no way to get him out. Basically, she tells Mahito that the tower is dangerous and old, so he should stay away. Before we continue, I must say, watching an actual Ghibli film is something else, isn't it? After the whole controversy where people were using AI to make pictures and even some animations in this style, comparing them to the real thing is so funny. It's not that what the AI made is bad, because it's not. For something to be bad, it would need to have intentionality. So what was Mahito doing now? Oh right, he was doing an isekai. Listen, this is a deeply personal work. Miyazaki came out of retirement just to do this one. Was it worth it? Well, somewhere in there's a message about legacy and the nature of art, somewhere in between the creative visuals and the dark yet simple story. You dig? Number 7 is Penguin Drum. Yeah, penguins again! Look at them, they are so cute. There is also a movie, but I like the series better. It goes like this, yo. It's 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and the story kicks off with a terminally ill girl named Himari. But then she's saved from death by the magic within a penguin-shaped hat her brothers get her. Remember the hat? It becomes very important later. It's important in the beginning, but it has further plot relevance later on. The first time though, it's crazy. She becomes possessed and does this. She does it a couple of times through the series, and every time it's the whole thing. This is the singularity of magical girl transformations, a full-on mecha penguin-themed musical number. Why the pandas? Well, they are penguin colors, aren't they? There's a catch though. In exchange for extending her life, the hat wants Himari's brothers, Kanba and Joma, to seek out the penguin drum. Now I hear you ask, what the hell is that? So the hat summons 3 penguins, but they are invisible, so they aren't too inconvenient in that way. They are important, and we do get another one later, but for now, there's just the cute one with the ribbon, the one that cleans and kills bugs, and the one that looks up girls' skirts. And when I said stuff gets wild, I mean it. There's time travel, a terrorist attack. I'm starting to think that penguins might have some sort of a cultural significance in Japan that I'm not quite getting. Don't get me wrong, I still liked it, but they are obviously a metaphor for something that I don't grasp. You know, like sexually. No, like maybe they are supposed to be memories? Yeah, whatever, but just what the f*** is a penguin drum? I hear you reiterate. Number 6 is Tamako Market. The same person who made the character designs for K-On! Make the designs for this one. Can you tell? Besides the admittedly charming visuals by Yukiko Horiguchi, there is a fat bird in this one, and he is a main character. As much of a main character as he can be in a slice of life show where there's an ensemble cast. And in case you were wondering, no, we never do learn what kind of bird he's supposed to be. My guess is that he was based off a kagu or a cockatoo. So, Tamako Kitajirakawa is the eldest daughter of a family which runs the Tamaya Mochi shop in the Usagiyama shopping district. There you have it, that's the Tamako and the market part from the title. Anyways, one day, Tamako is smelling the flowers at the flower shop, as one does, and she encounters a strange talking bird named Dera Mojimazi. They do make a joke about how, phonetically, if you say Mojimazi, it sounds like you are saying bad-tasting moji in Japanese, as in moji masui. So, flowers. The bird jumps out from amongst the lilies and crashes onto Tama, who snoozes, either because of the pollen or because of the bird in her face. Later on, as the bird explains that he comes from a distant land and is searching for a wife for his country's prince, as he is some kind of royal ambassador. He also says that in bird culture, sneezing at someone is a declaration of love. The bird is kind of creepy, to be honest. My guess is that this is based off the real phenomenon of birds mating with people's hats. So Mojimasi gets fat from eating too much moji and ends up becoming a freeloader in Tamako's home. It's funny, Tamako Market and the sequel film Tamako Love Story are very much within the show about nothing genre, but there are some themes and overarching stories, particularly Tamako's childhood friend Mojizo's crush on her, and both of them being too shy to open up to each other. On Tamako's relationship with her mother, who got Disneyed off-screen, this anime taught me what an einspanner coffee is, and that you should be careful not to wear a hat that might get the birds worked up. No prospect, Lady Shiratama. Then it kinda gets going. At one point the prince loses Yukiya in a game of dice, there's alliances, murder, get it? Like a group of crows. At one point, one of the crows goes berserk. Fun romp, honestly. Number 3 is Gozenzo-sama Banbanzai. Talk about a deep cut. So this is by Mamoru Oshii, aka Ghost in the Shell guy, although I'd bet he'd take exception to being called that. This one came out in 1989. It's a 6-episode OVA, very much of its time, but that's alright because it was a damn good time. Know what I'm saying? There's also a film that basically puts the whole thing together into a more comprehensible package. It's called Morocco, which is, incidentally, the final like of dialogue in the script. Not that the story is bad as is, but it is a dark comedy about a family falling apart because of time travel. It involves zeppelins, golf clubs, what I would argue is the greatest musical number in an animated movie of all time. My big Disney. At one point, a time-traveling policeman shoots himself after shouting the title of the anime, which roughly translates to "Long live the ancestors." We are interested in the more long-winded OVA, not because it is somehow superior in its unfocused, rapid-fire and still somehow very slow nature, which again I don't mind, but at the start of every episode, except for the last one, we get a tidbit of bird content, which is what we came here for, and it's not just random facts. Those little introductions are very much a part of this anime's identity and help really sell the themes of each episode. Sadly, they were eliminated from the movie, along with a bunch of confusing chaff. Episode 1 we learn about the cuckoo, episode 2 we learn about the penguin, which this is the third penguin appearance on this list. The Japanese do love their business geese, don't they? Third episode we get the Euplectus jacksoni, or Jackson's widow. Fourth is the ostrich, and the fifth is a rhinoceros hornbill. Number 2 is Yakitate Japan. If you are in the know, you might be wondering why this 69 nice episode anime about bread from 2004 is being mentioned in the bird list. Sacrilege! Was there a typo somewhere? No, my friend. This is right where it belongs. You see, I am the sort to value this kind of hidden gems for one reason. I believe that if you are reading, watching or listening to something, if that something doesn't challenge you, or teach you something, or expand your horizons some way, you are wasting your time. Not that leisure for its own sake isn't a worthwhile activity, but in this era of saturation, be it with entertainment, experiences, or even food, I believe that you, yes, you, deserve the best. It's nothing too complicated really, the anime itself is just a collection of scenes of characters flipping out over bread. It's a sort of parody of shonen anime, where instead of punching they cook, or bake. The flow is relatively simple, you just go from one senseless tournament to another, each time things becoming a magnitude more ridiculous. 15 years before Shokugeki no Soma. I feel like I give Food Wars a bit too much grief. I do like it, it's just that it's not really as innovative or particularly weird as people make it out to be. Yakitate Japan proves this point by essentially turning a stupid joke they made around episode 20, where this Gundam pilot guy keeps a bunch of birds hidden in his person for some reason. His name is Sylvan Kirisaki, and he does feature a lot. So from that point on, I guess it's a bird anime. There's even a power system explained in episode 24 where they grade how good the bread is using different birds. Also, a guy gets transformed into a bird twice later on. Number 1 is Phoenix, Eden 17. Osamu Tezuka. He was a big Disney fan apparently. He said he saw Bambi 80 times as a child. That is toddler behavior. But he was like 14 when he did it. Listen man, he was a messed up kid, but he did have to live through the war, so you can kind of see the influence in his own work. Astro Boy in particular. Astro Boy the anime was first broadcast on New Year's Day, 1963. It was this series that would create the first successful model for animation production in Japan, and would also be the first Japanese animation dubbed into English for an American market. And it also created the market for children's merchandise. This is in large part because Tezuka was able to undercut his competitors, cutting costs to 2.5 million yen per episode by using techniques that would be later adopted by the television anime industry at large, such as shooting on stop images, repetition, sectioning, combining views, and short shots. You don't have to know what those are, but you should know that you've seen them before, recently. Basically, without Osamu Tezuka there is no anime. He codified everything you know about it. Without Astro Boy there's no Dragon Ball, no One Piece, no Sailor Moon. But according to the man himself, his life's work wasn't Astro Boy, but Phoenix. 12 parts. Each one tells a separate, self-contained story and takes place in a different era. The plots go back and forth from the far future to prehistoric times, but the story was never completed. Tezuka died of cancer in 1989. There have been a bunch of adaptations of the different parts that we have available, including a live-action movie, like 10 video games. There's Phoenix 2772, which is like every part smooshed together into frankly an awesome movie. There was a whole anime that released in 2004 and it even had a TV movie to cap it off, but we are talking about the 4-part original net animation that came out in Disney Plus in 2023, because time is a flat circle. I'll try to be brief. A man and a woman wake up from stasis. They arrive into a hospitable asteroid. They are a couple, George and Romy, and in this place, it's just them and a little robot they brought. Romy gets pregnant. George dies looking for water, like he finds it, but he dies. They can water the crops now, at least. Romy names the boy Kane, raises him till he's about 5, then puts herself into stasis for 13 years and leaves the little robot to raise the boy because she wants to make it so her and Kane's lives are roughly the same length, so neither dies alone. They can't really leave, but there's an accident. At the time no one notices, but 13 years later, Kane checks on his mom. Turns out she froze herself for 1300 years. See, this is why I don't trust robots. He's frustrated about it and takes it out on the little robot. A bit later he realizes that it was a robot that was keeping the crops alive. Suddenly a meteor crashes nearby. Kane goes to see what's up, falls into the crater. He starts seeing these big bird in the sky. It becomes important later, but for now, what's really important is that a goo creature came out of the crater, shapeshifted into Romy, because it can read minds apparently, and it's saying it wants to breed. The first episode ends in a cliffhanger, and the next one starts with a 1300-year time skip. Talk about whiplash. If you like the premise, give it a watch. We don't get a lot of hard sci-fi nowadays, let alone in animation. Well, those are my favorite bird anime that I've watched so far. Like, share and subscribe for more lists just like this one. Do you know of any other anime that features birds prominently? Tell me in the comments. Have a wonderful rest of your day.